Hi folks, this I believe is a very important NMN update. Something is close. Something is coming. And when you look at the timeline for the NMN ban, it seems to suggest it's about time to get a response from the citizen petition that was filed just over a year ago by NPA and ANH to the FDA protesting their decision on NMN, saying that it no longer met the definition of a dietary supplement. Now, what I believe is going on here, and if I'm wrong, please explain to me how I'm wrong, because all I've done here is connect the dots on an elaborate or a coordinated ruse being perpetrated by government, big pharma, Metro Biotech, the empty building on the thumbnail, and David Sinclair. Now, if they don't operate out of an empty building, on paper only, if this isn't just a paper tiger of a company, then spell it out for me. Show me specifically what products they're making or going to make, because I haven't seen any evidence of anything. Just a website that was posted last year with some words about NAD boosting and natural ingredients and basically a nutrition chart. Now, why do I call this a coordinated ruse? Let's first look at the FDA and how it functions today. Not how it was formed or not how it was meant to be used, but what is the FDA today in practice? It's a regulatory agency designed and funded to provide services to big pharma, the medical and pharmaceutical industries. They provide things like safety certificates, they verify research, and they offer, specifically in this case, drug preclusions over supplements. In each and every case, there's been a race to market contested with the FDA. They've sided with the drug industry over the supplement industry every single time. Now, it's no surprise, as I said, they're funded in large part by the drug industry. $150 million is paid in the form of user fees to FDA by the drug and medical industries. What's the role of David Sinclair and Metro Biotech in this ruse for control of NMN? First, you have to go back and look at resveratrol. In the early 2000s, Dr. Sinclair was hyping sirtuins and their relationship to aging. He formed Ruse Pharmaceuticals in 2004, which later went public after a lot of public appearances by Dr. Sinclair. They went public in 2007, raised a lot of money, and sold in 2008 to GSK, GlaxoSmithKline. GSK developed SRT-501, sound familiar? Which is basically a form of resveratrol, only things didn't go so well. In 2010, Amgen and Pfizer looked into it and said, hey, this doesn't work. It doesn't even activate sirtuin-1. Now, whether you're supposed to take resveratrol with yogurt, as since Dr. Sinclair has pointed out, it really doesn't explain the whole story here, because why did they take $720 million, take a product off the market, ruin its reputation, ruin Sinclair's reputation? Like, just look at what happened. And this is what happened. Resveratrol was essentially debunked, and Dr. Sinclair's research was called into question. So after they had some side effects from SRT-501, this form of resveratrol, such as nausea and vomiting, in 2013, GSK shut down Ruse. In essence, they wrote off the $720 million investment. Now, you can imagine what Big Pharma thinks of working with David Sinclair right now, right? Are you going to pay another $700 million for another molecule like Metro Biotech has with MIB-626 and be left in ruins again, just have to write it off? In 2013, over a decade ago, David Sinclair formed Metro International Biotech, and their purpose is said to be focusing on NAD-boosting drugs. NAD is a natural occurring molecule in the body that you die without, and things like NMN can boost your NAD levels, which we lose, which dissipate as we age. After forming Metro International Biotech, David Sinclair went on a lecture circuit, and he began what I'm calling a reputation restoration tour, lecturing about the benefits of not only sirtuins, but also boosting NAD levels, specifically using a natural vitamin, which we call NMN. In the past decade, during this big lecture circuit tour of Sinclair's, over 100 companies began selling different forms of NMN, and it became a hugely popular natural supplement, albeit in concentrated form. Now, I do want to tell you that NMN, while it's still available, I keep an adequate supply on hand for several months. I get my NMN from DoNotAge. You can get pure NMN from other sources, but I've tested their NMN. The reason I bring this up is that many people ask me, where can I get safe NMN? That's the only one I've had tested. It's the only one that I've been able to trust. It doesn't mean it's the only good NMN out there, but buyer beware, be careful. Make sure you're getting a pure form of NMN. You can use my code, THEPULSE, and save 10% at DoNotAge. I mention that because a few percent comes back to this channel to support my efforts here to share this information with you that I'm sharing with you today. I've been approached by many supplement companies. By my count, over 50 different companies have reached out. Some have offered me 10, 20, 25% commissions on the sale of their NMN. I've refused each and every one of them. Not because it wouldn't be a lot of money, because it would be, because I simply don't take their NMN and I don't have a real genuine history and story to share with viewers about their NMN. One of the things that David Sinclair talked about during this lecture tour was that he was working with pharmaceutical companies on super NAD boosters. He referred to them many times, even better than NMN. But that never came to light. They never released any products. And NMN just became more and more and more popular. And I would argue effective. It's worked for me. There are a lot of early human clinical trials suggesting that it's a very powerful weapon against the effects of aging. Something happened in 2021 that changed the course of this entire story. FDA banned another supplement called NAC, which had been on the market for a long time as both a drug and a supplement. They banned it as a supplement and said it no longer met the definition of a dietary supplement. A few months after the FDA banning NAC, the lawyers for Metro International Biotech wrote a letter to the FDA. We have a drug submission, MIB 626, and it's being sold as a supplement as NMN. Since you took this decision with NAC, shouldn't you do the same thing with NMN? The only problem is FDA didn't connect the dots on the two. They didn't understand the relationship between MIB 626 and NMN. And we don't even know for a fact that MIB 626 was always meant to be NMN, or they filled in the dots themselves on what MIB 626 is. That's still unclear because we haven't been shown specifically what MIB 626 is or what form of NMN it is. But after Metro wrote that letter to FDA, FDA reversed course on NAC and said they were opting for an enforcement discretion policy, which triggered NAC to go back on the market in wider distribution. And then at the end of 2022, the light bulbs went off at the FDA and they realized, wait a minute, MIB 626 is NMN. They're the same thing. And they reversed course. They'd already sent out 2 acknowledgement letters to Syncozymes and Kingdom Way who were submitting NDIs. Now keep in mind, NMN had been legally sold through self-certification as a supplement by over 100 companies and had become an over $100 million industry. But 2 large companies were going to grow it even further. But to do that, to get it into grocery stores and wider retail outlets and even drugstores for that matter as a supplement, they needed an NDI to do that. So Kingdom Way and Syncozymes were attempting to do that. And they already had the acknowledgement letters from FDA, so they were already signing up distribution deals with these various stores. But when FDA then reversed again and said, no, it doesn't meet the definition of a dietary supplement, the process of NAC was basically playing out again with a new ingredient. And what happened? The MPA and ANH got wind of this and created another citizen petition early last year. March 7th, 2023, an NMN citizen petition was submitted to the FDA. The FDA has not responded to that citizen petition. They've not come out with an enforcement discretion on NMN. So NMN remains in a de facto enforcement discretion. Now for a year and a half, since they said that NMN didn't meet the definition, it's still not being sold technically legally as a supplement, but it's also not illegal. They've taken no final action against NMN, so it remains in a limbo state. That decision, or lack of decision, has kept NMN on a database run by LegitScript, which I've referred to as LegalScript. I had that wrong. It's called LegitScript. NMN is listed as a banned substance, and they listed it last April, around April of 2023, and Amazon removed it Walmart removed it, and YouTube disallowed NMN advertising in the United States based on that list. In my view, FDA took action at that moment in time by putting it on, placing it on an independent list of banned supplements, even though they hadn't officially responded to the citizen petition they'd received a month prior. And they still haven't responded now in over a year. They were asked, Carol Welch was specifically asked, why don't you come out with an enforcement discretion policy on NMN as you did with NAC? And purportedly her response was, we're going to let this one play out. What's going on right now is some kind of playing out by the FDA. I don't know exactly what it means. We don't know what's coming. We don't know what decision is coming. But it appears that they're going to let this play out, and they're going to let this stay in a limbo state until they come up with some sort of move or final decision or final action on NMN. While they let it play out, I will continue to report to you as long as I can here the developments on NMN and this entire government and pharmaceutical ruse to take it off the market. I'll see you soon.